All right, hello everyone, and good evening. Welcome to the fourth session of Star Trek Fenrir. For those who don't know what's going on, Fenrir is a tabletop role-playing game using the Star Trek Adventures rule set out of Modifius Entertainment. We are set in the Star Trek Online era, more specifically the year 2410. The Fenrir herself is a Cerberus class, which, if you don't know what that is, it's just a fancier Prometheus class. The Fenrir and her crew have taken over the reins of flagship in the Sabine Expanse from the old U.S.S. Ophion. You don't need to have watched my old Ophion episodes to enjoy this game, but if you do, you'll probably catch a few references here and there. You can find the VODs for both Ophion and Fenrir on my YouTube and most other popular podcast solutions. In any event, I have a couple items of order before we actually get started. The first is I am recovering from a cold, so if I have to mute myself or if my webcam turns off, it's probably because I'm dying a little bit, but hey, we all die a little bit at a time. The other thing is we are currently searching for a fifth player. We unfortunately had to drop Mr. Matthew Black, therefore we are searching for a fifth player. If you go to my Twitter, also linked below if you're on Twitch, you should be able to find a tweet which links to the application. More on that later if need be. The other thing I have to say is that I appreciate the support no matter what the form it comes in, whether it's a follow, sub, donation, bits, patron, whatever. It's all greatly appreciated. Just take care of yourselves first. So, with all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started. And something I like doing for all my tabletop games is having a opening monologue or some sort of a recap to sort of see where the players' heads are at. And for today, that is actually going to come in the form of a supplemental log from Commander Williams. So, Mr. Williams, what do you have for us?
Here we go. Chief Security Officer's log supplemental. While on a routine patrol, the Fenrir monitored a distress call from the U.S.S. Pathfinder, a Starfleet science vessel in this part of the Sabine Expanse. We found the ship in a bad way, most of the crew dead, extensive damage, trapped in a debris field. The captain authorized MVAM to break up the rubble and tow the Pathfinder out. The survivors told tales of a rogue planetoid embedded with Takan technology, a deadly thing to non-telepaths as it is, but a potential boon to the Federation. Against my objections, RAS took Beta Section with a complement of telepaths to chase this planet, leaving Gamma Section and a sluggish Alpha Section with the Pathfinder. And just as I had begun to prepare for my investigation into the events on board the Pathfinder, the ship unexpectedly powered itself back up in armed weapons. At least I get to test 2/3 of a ship and put that through its paces.
Alrighty. So, as advertised, we start our scene with the Alpha and Gamma sections of the Fenrir realizing almost at the same time that the U.S.S. Pathfinder, the vessel they have rescued, is currently spinning back up as if the damage it took was absolutely negligible. And we are actually going to jump right into Starship combat. Now, what I would say is that Starship combat is the most complicated thing in this system, and there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm going to do my best to not only go through those moving parts and educate people as we go, but sort of provide a first look for those of you searching for a combat reference, because I know that's something on the subreddit that has been mentioned. So first things first, the way Starship combat works is that there are a number of roles. In this instance, tactical, internal systems, helm, sensor operation, and command. Each of these roles has been represented by a colored dot here on Roll20 on each of the tokens. Now, kind of like how regular combat works, if you tuned into our session 2 times ago, it's broken up between the players and the enemies. So it goes player, enemy, etc. until everyone has gone. Now, Starship combat works a little bit differently. The way Starship Combat works is that you get a number of turns equal to your ship's scale. Now, what that means for my players, it means that the Alpha section can go 3 times, the Gamma section can go 3 times, and the Pathfinder, being a scale 4, can go 4 times. So the players still have the benefit of action economy, but it's pretty close. Other than that, it's just going to bounce between player and the Pathfinder, the enemy Pathfinder, and it's really up to the players to decide what they want to do. You don't have to take your turns back to back, although I am aware that we do have quick to action on the field, so you do have that option once. So we're just going to open it up. Which among you, Alpha or Gamma, would like to act first?
Got it.
Unless the captain orders Matic and cheerleads him, Matic will go first.
Okay, Matic, you are on the Alpha section of the Fenrir. The section of the ship is still dealing with the power loss that you suffered earlier. You are up to half power at the moment.
Starting off, I want to restore power.
Okay. That is, if I remember correctly, is going to be a daring or control engineering at a difficulty of 2.
It might help if I have my character sheet open.
Yeah, it might
So
help a
I
little.
can't cheerlead now.
Your cheerlead, the way we've been doing cheerleading out of combat, it's not a big deal. In combat, you can only do it once per scene.
Per scene.
And usually combat itself is a scene.
Yeah. It's like
Okay,
once per
I'll save it.
encounter.
So control engineering. I'm assuming power system applies.
Oh yeah.
Am I assisted by the ship in any way? I can't remember.
No, the ship does not assist you on this one.
Okay. I already know the problem.
It doesn't have enough power to assist you.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2d20. Yes.
All right, so I will give you an option, Matic. You can succeed, however, I will take 2 threat.
Do it.
I'm not giving you threat yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it.
All right, so Matic, your fingers dance across the console as you try to reroute power. Try and squeak out just something more so that you're going into combat with a little bit more power under your wings. And unfortunately, the conduits are still reeling from the shock that it suffered. And unfortunately, no power is available to you other than what you've got already. So up next is going to be the U.S. Oh, go ahead.
We had momentum at the end of last game.
Yes, you should have 2 momentum, I believe.
Okay. Just making sure.
So whoever wants to keep track of momentum. While you guys are figuring that out, we're going to do it with the Pathfinder. And the Pathfinder is going to actually open up with a scan for weakness on the Gamma section. So I'm just going to push my little macro here. All right, that's 2 successes, which is all it needs. So Gamma section, Mr. Williams, you are seeing on your console that the Pathfinder is beginning to scan and lock on to sections of the Gamma section of the ship. Good news, though, is that is their entire turn. So, who would like to act next? It can be Alpha or it could be Gamma if you so wished.
I am gonna go with Gamma, and I'm actually gonna order my my Cardassian science officer, Guel Rawl, to scan for weaknesses on the Pathfinder. And specifically, I want to know the structural weaknesses that made it impractical to lock a tractor beam onto it in the last session. Are those still present, or was it some kind of illusion?
Okay. So if someone would roll for him, it's going to be a control and a science, and the ship will assist you with a sensors and security. This difficulty is a 1.
I'll roll for the character if somebody wants to roll for the ship. And sorry, Jamie, you said that was control science?
You got it.
I'll roll for the ship. You said it was sensors science?
Sensor security.
Oh, sensor security.
And the science officer has the sensors focus. So
Mm-hmm. All right, 2 successes to start off with, and a success from the ship means that you get 2 momentum. Very nice. So what I would say is not only are you able to highlight structural vulnerabilities, you realize something perhaps odd or disheartening. Remember how when you first encountered the ship, I said that there were hull breaches and otherwise parts of the ship exposed to the vacuum?
Mhm.
It's starting to look like those emergency bulkheads are replicating outwards, almost as if it is sealing itself and repairing itself.
good,
Mm-hmm.
real good.
Mm-hmm. And let me make a note, as the Pathfinder has been scanned. And unless you want a quick to action, question mark.
I do,
Okay.
and I will. I'll take this one myself, since I've seen that it's beginning to regenerate and it's pretty obviously hostile. I am going to lock onto it with phasers and open fire.
Okay. So you are at medium range, which is 2 units away, which means you are in the optimal range for phasers. The difficulty on this is a 2 because you're firing phasers and you're within the right range. I need you to roll me a control security, and the ship will assist you with a weapon security. And just so you remember, firing phasers is a power loss. It costs 1 to
Yes.
fire it normally.
Mm-hmm.
I'll roll for the ship.
They haven't fired at us yet, right?
Not yet. Though they have locked sensors onto gamma section.
And they powered weapons too.
Mm-hmm. Weapons have been
Oh,
powered
okay.
as well.
And I'm going to spend a momentum to get an extra die. Clickable focus. Yay. Oh,
All right, well, unless the ship assists you, it does. Very nice. You get the
Yeah.
2 successes you need. So gamma section, I believe your phasers are what, 6, 7 challenge dice?
phasers are 9.
9. Ooh, that seems a little
That's-
high. Let me check
It
that.
kind of does.
Let me check that because that sounds high. No, you should be 7.
Okay. There we go. All right. See. Oh, let's go ahead and roll that. And does the ship roll with a focus? Oh, these are challenge dice.
Yeah, these are challenge dice.
Yep. Let's do it with 7.
Okay. Now, the good news is because you scanned for weakness, every single one of those effects actually counts as piercing 2. And something I forgot is because you did scan for weakness, you get an additional challenge die. So roll me one more for a total of 6 damage. So, go ahead.
Do we want to use a momentum to re-roll those 3 zeros to get some extra damage done?
Up to you all.
I think, yeah, I think so.
Sure.
So let's roll 3 challenge dice. Come on.
All right, for a total of, I see 8. So, Williams, you, thanks to the lock on, and you know exactly where to fire, you send out a volley of phaser shots from the dorsal section of the saucer, and they impact the Pathfinder and open up new holes in the saucer section. And you almost completely bypass their shields with that attack, and they are going to suffer a breach. So, I would like you to now hit the system hit macro. Structure, very nice. So what that means is it takes a breach to structure. So obviously you open up a new hole. Unfortunately, no one is on the Pathfinder at the moment. So
They get hurt.
it's
All those rocks are exploding and nobody's there to get hit by them.
yeah, that's kind of the downside.
All those ceiling tiles coming down.
Mm-hmm. But that is your turn. Very good turn. And, something I forgot to mention. So the blue bar on your tokens is your shields. The orange bar is your power. It should sync with the Roll20 sheet, but if not, always go by what the token says.
Okay.
All right, so that is your turn. So the Pathfinder is up, and the Pathfinder is actually going to respond in kind with its own phasers. And they do succeed on this one. And I'm going to buy off that complication with some threat. And I am going to, let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you, in fact, take a grand total. Gamma section is going to take a grand total of 5 damage to its shields. As the Pathfinder answers in kind, fires back with its surviving phaser arrays, and opens up quite a number of hull breaches on the Gamma section. And that's important because the hull breaches are specifically located along your weapons array.
Oh, great.
Now, what that means is that until someone performs the restore minor action, and it has to be the tactical officer, you cannot make any attacks or do any tasks that would be assisted by the ship's weapons system. So effectively, the Pathfinder has knocked the Gamma, the Gamma weapons offline with just a single shot.
Shields are at 64%.
Mm-hmm. And if that wasn't bad enough, I'm actually going to spend 2 threat to retain the initiative for the Pathfinder, and it is going to, at an increased difficulty, it is going to fire another salvo at you. So let's see what happens. Now, normally I don't do this, but I feel like this is a good opportunity to show how mean I could be. That way, when we go to harder enemies, you appreciate that I'm not trying to steamroll you. All right, so it did pass.
Yep.
And I'm going to reroll 3 of those zeros. Okay, so you're going to take another 5. And something I should say for people at home. So what's going on here is we're rolling challenge dice for damage. And the damage is then reduced normally by the ship's scale. So, for instance, the Gamma section is a scale 3 at the moment, so it would reduce that damage by 3. However, because there was a scan for weakness involved, that means that the first attack, the first phaser one we did, is actually going to be the resistance is completely negated. Now, it is back for this attack. So what that means is initially it's only doing 2 damage. However, I am going to spend the 3 threat to raise that up to a 5 and cause another breach for you.
Oh.
And this is a good one because this highlights structure. So something I will point out if you haven't found it already, on the Roll20 sheet, underneath every single department, there should be a little breach button for you to push. But it's important because I have rolled structure, and I have rolled a effect, which is a big problem for you all, because when I roll an effect after a structure has been hit, and this applies to NPC ships as well, so this is a learning experience, someone on the ship has been injured. And what that means is I'm now going to roll a d4, and whoever I roll on that d4 is going to be considered injured. So let's see what I get. Okay, so this is going to be interesting, and it's going to lead to some interesting roleplay. As Williams, you're making jokes about ceiling tiles earlier. Well,
Oh, Jesus.
this time, as the Pathfinder opens up fire again and tears a hole almost like right next to the bridge, ceiling regulation rocks fall onto your head along with a cacophony, or not a cacophony, a shower of sparks. And you are considered injured, which means you are out of this combat until someone does first aid on you.
Sweet.
But the good
Did you guys
news...
send over LL to our...
Yeah, LL is on the alpha section.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the main doctor is with me.
Yep. This is going smoothly.
As is Savia, one of the
Savia,
nurses.
yeah.
So
Yeah. That's right.
The good news is that is all the Pathfinder can do in this turn. So it is now back to the players.
All.
I have, I've got 2 actions remaining for Alpha section and 1 remaining for Gamma section. So whichever one of you would like to go.
Okay.
Your Cardassian has a 3 medicine, though.
Yeah. Sure does.
That's good. So we still have half power.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I don't know what I can do with that. Is that like I can divert it to shields? Because I see.
So there's a lot of things you can do. The most common two uses are helm actions, basically moving the ship around. If you go a certain distance, you don't spend power, but if you go beyond that distance, it does require power.
Okay.
So mechanically, if you stay within 6 units on this map, you do not spend power. But if you go beyond 6 units, then you spend a power. Power is also used to fire weapons. 1 power for phasers, 0 power for torpedoes. And it's also used for things like transporting, for modulating the shields, for tractor beams, and regenerating shields. Now, the good news, your shields are at full at the moment, so you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Well, I see them firing, and so I want to fire.
Okay. So right now, you are currently 8 units away from the Pathfinder, which means you are at long range, and thus you are out of the optimal range for your phasers. However, you are in optimal range for your torpedoes.
Were you going to say something, Mr. Maddock?
That's what I was about to say is fire a salvo of torpedoes, but it does give him threat.
Yes. So
I want to do it.
Okay. So we now go to a question. So torpedoes, I automatically get 1 threat because you are firing torpedoes. They are a escalation. Like firing torpedoes is supposed to be a big deal. And what I need to know now is, are you firing just 1 torpedo or are you firing a salvo? Now, the benefit of salvo is that you do additional damage and you gain additional effects on that damage.
I want to do a salvo.
A salvo. Okay. Now, my next question.
Because there's nobody alive on that ship. So.
Astute observation. Now, something I would ask is, in terms of firing this weapon, who is actually firing the weapon on Alpha Section?
I have my Vulcan Doc. DOK. He's a tactical officer.
Okay. Let's give this to John. That way, John's got something to roll here.
Okay.
So, John, you are going to be rolling a control security at a difficulty of 3, because torpedoes are always difficulty 3 if they're within optimal range.
You want to spend a momentum, folks?
I think
No, maybe.
if I could make a suggestion, yes, for God's sake, help me.
Okay,
Jeez.
spend it.
Yeah, I agree.
I've
And
made a horrible
I'm
mistake.
assuming his focus of Starship weapon systems comes into play.
It most definitely does. And the ship is also assisting you with a weapons security, if someone could grab that real quick. But
There
you've
you
already
go,
got
Doc.
the 3.
Nice.
Alpha Section. Weapon security, yes.
All right, so no additional momentum. However, you do manage to hit it. So, John, I'd like you to roll me... Oh, something I forgot to ask. Are you firing photon torpedoes or quantum torpedoes? There is a difference.
What's the difference?
Quantum torpedoes are 1 more damage, and they also have the vicious 1 effect, which means for every effect that you roll on challenge dice, it's 1 additional damage.
And then photon torpedoes.
Photon torpedoes, they don't have vicious 1. They're 1 less damage. They're sort of like run-of-the-mill, just regular old torpedoes.
I'm hearing quantum.
Why do they exist then? I don't know. We'll do quantum.
Do quantum.
And
All right.
sorry, are we having them for the quantum because they have the calibration?
It takes a
thingy?
minor, and I would say, since this
Yeah.
is our first time, it takes a minor to do it. But since the Alpha Section is not
Just blow
damaged,
'em up.
yeah, you
that's-
just spend the minor to calibrate the torpedoes.
Nice.
All right. So, John, what this all boils down to is, by baseline, the quantums are 8 challenge dice. However, you're firing a salvo, which means you get to roll 9 challenge dice.
All right.
Cool.
Are we ready to spend a momentum to reroll all these zeros?
Don't see that. 2?
I would say re-roll the 4 zeros.
Yeah, 100%.
Alright.
Do it.
So we got some.
Nice.
Okay, so that's
There we
6,
go.
7, 8, 9, 10,
I
11,
count
12 damage.
All right.
Also, I want to give you 2 threat to do a devastating attack, so then we hit 2 different systems with 2 different breaches, because the half damage would be 6 damage to another system.
Yep. So, John, I'm going to give you the first how do you want to do this in Starship Combat. As I said, Starship Combat, a lot of moving parts, but it can go very quickly.
So by me ordering that, is that like cheerleading or not?
That's up to you. You just giving a regular order to say open fire is not something. For a command character, you specifically have to say you are doing the direct action. Because if you do
Okay.
the direct action, you do get to assist with presence command, and you get to basically have someone go again. So let's say, for example, Doc had already fired. You could order him to fire again, kind of a thing.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
But in this instance, go ahead, John. We've got at least 3 quantums soaring towards the Pathfinder. How badly does it blow up?
So as the alpha section is spinning to get turned around, 3 of the torpedoes ring out toward the Pathfinder. The gamma is smoking a little bit along its side, but the 3 torpedoes slam into the Pathfinder, ripping 3 large holes into the saucer section, leaving the aft section kind of just floating there with only about an eighth of the saucer section left.
There's a red X on it.
Mm-hmm. It is donezo. And yeah, as the 2 sections of the Pathfinder float out, you guys are effectively out of combat. But before we can deal with any injuries, we're going to cut to the away team.
Yay.
Meanwhile, within the Dark Matter Nebula, Commander Rast, you have just lost Lieutenant Hale. You have recovered 28% of him, but you are down a member of your away team.
All right. How close are we to the building that we want to be at?
Well, sort of as a reminder, so the ruins that you have arrived in, they are what appear to be obviously ruins. So half buildings, half walls, debris of unknown origin. Sort of imagine it built out of not just stone, but as metal as well. So there's kind of a mix of architecture here. But what's really catching your attention is there is a large archway type structure that is made out of metal with the Takan language inscribed on the archway. And the archway is also probably about, I'd say 4 or 5 inches thick. So it sort of runs up and comes down, and it is in the middle of a circular platform that you take maybe 1 or 2 steps upstairs to get to.
Okay. Valak, can you take a look at the archway, see if it has any sort of significance?
Yes, sir. I'll run the patterns through the universal translator.
And everyone else, just make sure you're not near a hole as he looks around.
So, GM, what would you like me to roll for that?
I would like you to roll me a reason and a science, please. And
Perfect.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
I would be... I guess really what I want to look for is any... Because I know the Takan Empire was an ancient stellar empire.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if any of these hieroglyphics or characters bear similarities to contemporary languages that may have derived from the Takan dialect.
Very good. I would say this is going to be then a difficulty of 3. I will not spend threat. I will be nice.
Okay. And does my linguistics talent apply?
Most definitely it does.
Dang it.
You could, or no, he is a supporting character, so unfortunately he doesn't have determination quite
No
yet.
determination to spend.
So, you're looking at the archway, Valek, and your tricorder's having a very hard time recognizing the symbols. Either the tricorder just isn't cut out to sort of read through the wear and tear of time, or there's something more at play here. You're really not sure.
Do your best to just take images, so that we can at least take the images along with us. Get a 3D holographic mapping of the archway, and then let's continue inward.
Okay.
Understood, Commander.
So the more you spiral into these ruins, the more that out of these sort of dusty orange colored rocks and the partially built towers and walls and hints of other structures, you're seeing more and more hieroglyphics. And interestingly, at least Valek would maybe know this, is they appear to be more quote unquote organic looking, meaning that they were made out of either organic material or that they have changed in some way to represent a new language or a new subset of the language. But again, you don't know what they're saying.
Fascinating.
Of the people that we have with us, who is, let's see, Ensign Valek is science, right? Savia is a nurse, and Jensen is an engineer. Okay, so Rast is going to have his phaser out,
Okay.
just in case, as we are continuing to search through, taking images of any writings that we come across the best that we can. We're not going to dally for long, so it's a assignment for both Valek and Jensen to just get imaging as quickly as we can and move on.
All right. In that case, we are going to do an extended task, and this is a timed task, which means the sooner you complete it, the better. And the more time it takes you to complete this task, obviously, the worse things will happen. So this is going to be a work track of 10, and I'm typing this out so everyone can see it. The difficulty is going to start at a 3. The magnitude will also start at a 3. And I am going to give you 1 resistance on this because you are acting very quickly. And the default task is going to be a reason and either science or engineering. Actually, let's do a control and reason or control reason or word's hard. Control science or control engineering is what I would say. And Ensign Jensen and Ensign Valek can assist one another.
All right, cool. My control science is 14.
Ensign's control engineering is 12.
All about Valek.
All right, cool. And we'll do that. And DM, I'm gonna give you a point of threat to get an extra.
Extra die? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, so worst that could happen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do any of my focuses apply? I've got xenoanthropology, archaeology, and linguistics.
I think they would all apply.
Okay, cool.
So just hit that focus 3 times.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, good news. With Valek rolling 2 successes and Jensen rolling 1, you achieve the 3 you need. So Valek, I need you to roll me 6 challenge die, please, to represent how well you're doing on your task.
Come on.
All right, you've only achieved 3 successes here. So would you like to give me a point of threat to reroll those 3 zeros?
Yeah, sure would. Because that's what you need. Some more threat.
All right.
Hey.
So unfortunately, you only score 4 work, which means that yes, the work track has gone down, but you do not achieve enough for a breakthrough. So the difficulty stays at a 3. And something you're not going to like is I'm going to spend 4 threat to nullify that work you just did. So narratively, Valek and Jensen, you're working together. You're doing your damnedest to get scans of this place. But the more you walk around, the more unstable the ground beneath you gets, to the point where one time you literally have to fall to your knees and catch yourself as the entire planetoid shakes violently.
Geological instability is most inconvenient.
We are going to just go ahead and continue inward.
Okay. So you're abandoning the scans.
For now.
For now. Okay. So you continue to circle inwards, and the closer you get into the middle, the more pronounced the structures are. There's more of them intact. And finally, you see in the middle of what would be, or what might have been, a town square or a city square, whatever sort of open area is in the middle of this, whatever it is. What you see is an orb. And this orb is covered in glowing hieroglyphics that, again, you still can't translate, but they are active, meaning that you're seeing some illuminate, seeing them turn off and on, and you're noticing that they are spinning around this orb. Now, the orb itself is about the size of a... What's a good example here? They are about the size of a, let's say, a grapefruit tree. So a moderately sized kind of orb. So I'm trying to think dimensions here real quickly. Probably
a grapefruit or a grapefruit tree?
Grapefruit tree.
Okay.
So somewhere between 2 and 4 meters in diameter. So it's a very big orb.
All right, here's where we're going to spend our time, folks. Let's examine this the best we can. I feel that if we're able to make a breakthrough here, our mission to the planetoid will be a success, and then we can move on and get out of here before it's too late.
All right. So at this point, I would like everyone on the away team to roll me a fitness and command, please. The difficulty is a 1. And basically, I'm just looking to see if anyone fails here. All right, Valak has gotten you guys a point of momentum.
Yay, Valak.
Jensen has failed.
Back to his old self.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, Jensen.
And is this shaky type stuff, so I can use my hand-to-hand combat focus?
If you have composure, I would give you that.
No. Okay. There we go.
And then, Captain, why don't we have you roll for Savia?
Okay. What was it again? Fitness?
Fitness command.
Command.
Yep, Rast has achieved a success. And Savia gets you another point of momentum. So everybody but Jensen is fine. Jensen, there's a itchy feeling in the back of your mind, like something is brushing up against your consciousness. It's not trying to get into your skull or anything, but you do sense a presence.
Jensen will reach back and start scratching his head. He'll immediately turn and just be like, Miss Matic, the lice something in head, something on my head. And he's just scratching the back of his head, asking, just going off an entire list of lice and any other alien forms of lice there could be, trying to figure out what it is that's making the back of his head itch.
Perfect person to get that.
Mm-hmm.
Lice.
And for extra fun flavor, I'd remind you, you're all in EV suits at the moment. So
oh, he's completely forgot. Like, he feels like he just thinks that he's scratching the back of his head. Mm-hmm. Full on, like, EV on EV.
So Savia's gonna go over and just start scanning him.
All right, roll me a reason medicine, please. Difficulty of 2.
I don't think I have a focus that applies. Natural medicines?
Nah,
Cybernetics, prosthetics, trauma surgery?
Nah, unfortunately, none of those. Hey, but you still get the 2 successes. So it's good that you succeeded this, Savia, because as you scan Jensen, you are picking up a low-level psychic field coming from the orb.
She turns to Rast and says, Commander, I'm picking up a low-level psychic field from this orb. Are you feeling anything?
He'll turn his attention to the orb and open his mind to it.
Sure enough, you two begin to feel that sort of tickling sensation in the back of your mind.
In his mind, anyway, when he's reaching out to it, he's going to, hello, I am Commander Rast from the Federation.
There is no reply. However, I am going to roll something here. I just need to find where in my notes what this is. This is going to be... Oh. Okay.
I love that. The GM goes, ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know.
Ooh.
All right,
so I'm going to spend 30 threat.
Yeah, well, no, I'm going to spend 3 threat.
Explode.
I'm going to spend 3 threat to roll 4d20 here. And that is bad for you. I need you, Commander Rast. I need you to roll me a fitness command. And you need to score 4 successes on this.
We've lost him.
Okay. There is no such thing as the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Only the temporarily hidden. Suspend a determination.
Okay, that'll start you with 2 free successes.
And this
you want
is...
to spend a point of momentum for
and I'm going to spend a point of momentum for sure.
Well, it would be 2 because the determination counts as your first die, so it would be 2 momentum for the third die.
Do it.
Okay.
We can't lose you on this one.
And what's the roll again?
A fitness and command.
Fitness and command. Total of 3 dice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And any of my any focus here?
Let's take a gander. I would say
Xenopsychology.
I'll give you xenopsychology.
Xenopsychology.
Nice.
All right, and I need 2 from this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh yeah!
Nice. That is a grand total of 6 successes with your determination, which means you get the 2 momentum right back. And it's a very good thing you succeeded, Commander Rast, because something that you would probably be aware of, based on your backstory. You know how with a Vulcan mind meld, the personalities sort of intermingle and become almost one for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
This is that, but in a much more forceful manner. It's as if this entity or entities, whatever it is, it's trying to take you over, almost possess you, but you're able to fight it off.
All right. Does it want to say anything?
No, it does not say anything. It is merely a psychic presence that is now pushing you down almost. You're still able to stand, but mentally, if you will imagine just a great weight upon your shoulders.
He looks to the others with a little bit of stress and sweat on his brow inside the EV suit. And he's quickly scan the area, see what you can find out. It is attempting to take control of me, but I am able to hold it off at this point.
All right, I can do that.
All right.
So
Jensen,
go ahead.
Jensen wants to scan to see if it's mechanical or organic. Like he wants to see if there's an engineering reason behind this, or if it's, the Vulcan put the soul in the thing.
Okay.
Whatever that was called.
Oh, the Katra.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is going to be a reason and engineering for Mr. Jensen. His focus of power supplies would apply here. And I'm going to spend 1 threat to make it a difficulty of 3.
You said reason engineering.
Mm-hmm.
It says difficulty 3 and that his focus applies. Why does shit keep popping up? Y'all mind if I spend a momentum to get that 3rd dice?
Oh, right ahead.
Get in there.
Nope.
Yay. Focus, yes.
Nice.
Mr. Jensen. You have
Awesome.
scored 4 successes, which means you get that momentum right back. Jensen, you notice 2 things about this orb. The first is that it's self-powered, meaning that you could probably leave it alone and it'll power itself for maybe the next several millennia. The second thing you notice is that this is a data storage implement. Like, it is a database, a living computer.
Okay. He'll just basically translate that over to everyone else. He'll just kind of say out loud, it's one of those living computers that, other ships have come across. It's a big database. It could power itself for the next couple millennia, if it doesn't go and get destroyed here. But I mean, if it's good, we could try to take it and study it.
If this device is responsible for the fate of the Pathfinder, it may not be wise to introduce it into our starships.
I'm going to spend 2 threat here. Commander Rast, it attempts to invade your mind once more.
Fucker.
So this time I need you to roll me a difficulty, let's make it a 4. Another difficulty 4, fitness and command.
Oh, God.
Yeah, challenge of value.
Challenge of value.
It's like, what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, 45 minutes into the session.
Like, let's just do it.
It's going to be a different person.
Exactly.
Either way.
You can come back as Hurt Locker Rast.
Alternatively, I will offer you a suggestion if you will hear it.
I will hear it, but I already know what I'm going to do.
All right, so here is my suggestion. You've already experienced the overwhelming weight of whatever this is. Jensen has just confirmed that it is a living database. Why not just cut the power?
Do we see the power?
No, I mean, you would have to go looking for said power, but I wanted to throw it out as an option.
All right, so he will attempt to fight it, even though his original thought was to just give into it. And he is going to tell all the others, cut the power, and he's going to spend a momentum.
Okay. Just the one, or would you like to roll 4 dice for giving me 1 threat?
Sure, let's give you a threat. Why not?
All right.
It hasn't turned out poorly so far.
Just one. Just a little threat.
Just one.
Oh!
Holy
7
God.
successes. So you get 3 momentum.
Clutch.
And yeah, Rast, I'm going to say you not only resist this possessing influence, but you push it back significantly, almost like you push the wounded beast back into a cage. And you have bought a significant amount of time for everyone else. So everyone else, Commander Rast has just told you to turn off the power. How are you going about that?
I'll do the obvious thing and scan for a power source.
Okay. That's going to be a
If
reason.
only Maddox was here.
Yeah, if only he was here.
Power systems.
Well, Jensen probably can do in a pinch.
Is there one visible?
No. So you are going to have to scan for one.
Okay.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, there's several ways we can go about this. The first is Mr. Valick and Savia can work together to try and decipher the glowing glyphs on the surface of the orb and see if there's a control mechanism there. That would be a reason or insight plus science. Difficulty there would be a 4. Jensen would be doing an insight engineering at a difficulty of 3. Now, obviously, the benefit of the first is that Savia could assist Valick or vice versa. Unfortunately, the latter option, it's just pure Jensen.
I would like to try
Teamwork or space slice?
teamwork.
All right.
Let's give that a try first.
Okay. Am I assisting you or?
Sure. So, hold on. Get to here.
My reason science is 15.
13. Reason 10.
If
So
you-
it's reason science.
Reason or insight plus science.
Oh. Well, I want reason.
If you want to live dangerously, I can still assist you.
You can assess me.
Okay. Cool.
And Valek, your focus would apply here in linguistics.
Excellent.
So cybernetics isn't gonna help me.
I'll give it to you. Why not?
Ooh, look at that.
Valek has rolled a crit. All right, so unfortunately, unless no, I don't think there's anything we can do here. So as Valek and Savia are scanning for a means to translate these glyphs, unfortunately, something you do triggers a response, and all of the glyphs, they change from glowing blues and greens to oranges and reds, and in a much more rapid
those are less
fashion.
friendly colors.
Jensen, having felt the presence on him, is he compelled to maybe touch the orb?
I leave that to your discretion.
Jensen's compelled to touch the orb.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So,
Let's do it.
Jensen,
I thought you were supposed to be scanning.
Jensen, I'd like you to roll me a 1d100, please.
Shit,
Let's go.
That's
Come on.
how much of your body is
We're
left.
trying to kill Jensen.
No
this
whammies,
session.
no
That
whammies.
is.
He uses his Dode ancestry and becomes a being of light.
Just roll the d100. I'm
'Cause
sure it'll
that's
be fine. A 51. The DC on this was a 50, so you pass.
Holy.
Oh.
So,
boy.
Jensen, you touch the rapid orange and red glyphs, and
He's also gonna just have this overwhelming feeling of like friend, like we're friends. We're not here to hurt you. We're friends. Like it's trying to be like, yay, positive.
Mm-hmm. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news, Commander
I want
Rast.
the bad news first.
Well, we're going to do the good news first. Commander Rast, that presence lifts off of your shoulders.
Yeah.
The bad news, Jensen now feels that very same weight. So I need Jensen to roll me a fitness command at a difficulty of 4.
Let's go, Jensen.
You have 3 momentum at the moment. It is possible.
Let's
I'm
go.
gonna need all.
You're gonna need all that momentum to get 2 extra dice.
God,
It's-
Jensen.
It's a combined score of like 10, I think.
Oh God. Ba, 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 ba.
I mean, I believe in Jensen.
Son of a bitch. Let's go. Let's like see if Jensen's actually a Terminator and cannot be killed.
Hmm.
Okay, who's ready for some bullshit?
Use Jensen's hypochondria focus and make this just an episode.
Okay, so Jensen does have a focus in quantum slipstream technology. The basis of quantum slipstream would be quantum mechanics and such as that. I'm assuming that this orb being able to organically or even mechanically telepathically connect between minds uses a type of quantum signal or a
Somebody screen cap the GM's
ability
face, please. We need an emoji.
Come on, I'm trying to make sure I don't kill 2 characters in as many sessions, okay?
No, continue the thematic bullshit. I'm intrigued. Where's this going?
No, this is Jensen bullshit. Let's get this straight.
Okay.
But
It's Matic bullshit, but itchier.
but using the same theory that would apply to quantum slipstream or quantum mechanics in general,
Mm-hmm.
using the basis, because I'm assuming that part of learning how to use quantum slipstream technology is also having to follow the past of quantum technology.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming at some point they would have studied the Arcadian shuttle that used a quantum that Matic did create, a quantum that used the quantum
The link
quantum
that went back to
singularity
the
to
arcade.
allow
Said
the
quantum like 67 times.
It has no meaning.
I'm trying to bullshit. Okay. But the Arcadian shuttle was able to use the holodeck to remotely control the shuttle.
I don't know where this.
I don't know where this is going, but I'm intrigued.
Nice.
I forgot what you said at the beginning now. Like
That's why.
So
I don't know
long
where this is
road
going
plays.
either.
So
I know where we are. I just don't know how we got here.
let me just say this. Because of the bullshit, I'll give it to you. But I'm just going to point out, Jensen has a command score of 1. So the focus means nothing.
It doesn't matter. I just wanted one last chance. Oh, fuck.
All right. So here's what's going to happen is Jensen is going to... his entire body is going to shudder. And with a burst of energy from where his hand is connected to the orb, he's going to be launched back about 10 feet onto his back. And he's sort of rigid, just sort of staring up at the void of space. Or not the void, I guess, because you're in a nebula. But you stare at the greater dark matter nebula around you. And Jensen is lethally injured, meaning that Miss Savia probably should get on fixing him.
Let's go,
I'm
Savia.
doing it.
All right, and Rast is going to help Valak just find a way to turn this damn thing off.
Alrighty. So let's
shit.
deal with Miss Savia. This is going to
Okay.
be a first aid task, which is a control and a medicine at a difficulty with some threat, a difficulty of 2.
Most distressing.
Control medicine. Right.
Yep.
Okay. We don't have any momentum left.
Yeah, no
right?
momentum. You could give me threat.
Give him a bunch of threat because he needs it.
Do we want to save Jensen, or is this where his story ends?
Give him 1 threat.
Okay, you can have a
Come
threat.
on.
All right.
So I'm rolling 3.
Yep.
Okay. Trauma surgery.
I'll give it to you.
Thank God.
Look at that.
Ooh.
4 successes. So you get
Wow.
2 momentum. And yeah, good news. You are able to stabilize Mr. Jensen. He is not going to die at the end of this scene. However, before we cut to Commander Rass and Mr. Valek, we're going to switch scenes to Bridge of Alpha Section. And Captain, it's maybe been about 4, maybe 5 minutes since combat has ended, and you have yet to get in contact with Gamma Section.
Mr. Maddock, do we have propulsion online?
Everything should be operational, Captain. I just would be hesitant and going at full speeds. I would say until we can get these, until my damage control teams can get these the power relays back working at full efficiency. Just be a little easy on the controls.
Okay, I'm going to take us impulse power closer to Gamma.
Okay. And it is probably about the time you get right up off the edge of the ship that you do get a hail from Gamma Section. It is Mr. Zines. Is it Mr. or Miss Zines?
Let's do Miss.
All right. Well, Miss Zines, your current XO, acting XO is kind of on the floor of the bridge right now.
All right. Yeah, I should say Gamma Section to Alpha Section. Is everything all right over there?
We're fine. You guys took a hit. What's going on over there?
Commander Williams has been injured. We've got hull breaches across multiple decks, but emergency force fields seem to be holding.
All right. Do you have medical officers over there?
Yes, Captain.
Okay. So out of character,
Mm-hmm.
we can't like get back together without Beta.
No, you would need to find Beta Section to regroup.
Okay.
It'd be like a Voltron with a missing tiger.
Apt
We could just fly like
Arc on top.
together. Okay, so your shields are holding. Do you have any casualties?
That's a good question, GM.
Well, besides Mr. Williams, the sick bay, or what fashions as it in Gamma section, is currently fit to capacity.
Yes, Captain, we are at capacity for our medical capabilities.
Okay, where was the triage center?
Beta.
Is that Beta? Okay. And I'm guessing, well, we have
The
LL over
hospital.
here. So if we lower shields, we can transport him over here and then treat him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to order that.
Alrighty. So, as Alel beams over, I need Alel to roll me a control and a medicine, please, at a difficulty of 1. And this will represent you performing first aid on Mr. Williams.
Two complications.
Yeah, as I say, complications here will be
I don't
interesting.
have a focus.
All right, 1 success. I will offer you to succeed, but I will take 2 threat.
Okay.
All right. So, Alel, you do get Mr. Williams back up and running.
Okay.
Mr. Williams, you are groggy, but you are now going through the same thing the captain was not 30 minutes ago. I'm going to immediately spend the 2 threat for a complication. And the complication is, it is at this point that Alpha Section's power dies completely once again.
No comms.
No comms.
Matic will do what he can to power everything back up.
Okay. So you
And,
do your best to coax any power out of the reactor. And I'd like you to roll me an insight engineering, please, Mr. Matic.
Um,
Power assistance
that's
probably
what the-
applies.
Probably.
Yeah. What's the difficulty?
One would hope.
The difficulty here is only a 1.
A 1? Okay.
Actually, I'll give it to you a difficulty 0. Why not? All right, so you get 2 momentum.
I know my ship allows me to re-roll a d20.
Okay.
So let me try some, let me push my luck again.
In before complication.
Engineering, 1d20, yes.
Wow,
Hey!
look at that. So that is a total of 4 successes,
We
meaning
capped
you
it
are
on
now
momentum?
capped on momentum.
Nice.
So, Matic, the problem isn't so much with the EPS conduits at this point. It is there was a feedback loop between the impulse engines and the reactor, the warp core you have on Alpha Section. It's something you can fix, but the only way you're going to be able to fix it is by rejoining the ship manually and then using the power from Beta and Gamma to jumpstart Alpha's reactor again.
This is just Matic being suspicious.
Mhm.
Does it look like this was something that occurred due to the events, or does this look like it may be sabotage?
I would say if you give me a point of momentum, I will answer that truthfully.
Yeah.
Okay. The truth of the matter is that this is not sabotage. The reactor was simply running on faith alone, and the fact that it has lasted this long is a minor miracle.
So this is a speak to the guys at Utopia Planitia issue, or this
Mhm.
is a okay.
That or yell at your maintenance crews, whichever you feel like.
Why not both? Okay. Using Captain, our reactor's down. The best way to get it back up and running again would be to completely rejoin the ship. What I could do is, if Gamma is able, I could probably take some of the phasers from the arms room and repurpose their power units to be able to give us some communication with Gamma by allowing by trying to give little spurts of power, maybe speak in a type of Morse code, or even use our communicators to be able to contact Gamma should Alpha lose the rest of its power.
Matic, not my phasers.
Do it.
Yeah. Matic, just go get the jumper cables, man.
All right, and
Or
as
we could
Matt,
just take a shuttle over there.
well, that's the other thing. The main shuttle bay. Guess where it is?
God.
Beta.
Jesus.
Oh no, Alpha's fucked. Like in any situation, Alpha's fucked.
Oh, I'm glad I picked it.
Well,
yeah,
We
let's
could
just
we could
do
grab
that.
EV suits and just kind of spacewalk over.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Into darkness style
yeah,
through an asteroid belt.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Sure.
Yeah,
Why
just
not?
try and boost the power with whatever power souls you can find on the ship.
So after gathering,
Well, while
bunch
you're
of
gathering, we're
phasers.
actually going to
Oh,
cut
wow.
back to the planetoid surface.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Rast and Mr. Valek, you are looking for, if I understood correctly earlier, you are looking for a power source to turn off. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm so going to be Valek's cheerleader.
Okay. So, Valek, you are going to be rolling me a Insight Engineering.
Oh,
The difficulty on this will be let's make it a 4 with some threat.
okay.
And I'm also going to increase the complication range. An 18 to 20 will be a complication.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. I have another.
You're the
You're so
you're the best.
generous.
All right.
And you're spending 4 of our
I'm
momentum.
spending 3 of them to get 2 extra dice.
Okay, 3 of them. Okay.
And
I'll even let one of your focuses apply here.
oh, thank God. And sorry, you said that was reason engineering?
Insight or reason
Insight.
engineering, yes.
Okay.
Whichever's better.
I gave you 2 successes.
Good. Yes. Come on.
Survey says that is
Nice!
a total of 5 successes, which means I believe
Whoa.
your momentum total is 3 now.
Yep.
But the good news, Valek, is you learn that there is a way to interface physically with the power source. You just kind of have to go around to the back of the orb and push a certain section and it'll pop out. But the downside is you would have to make contact with the orb, which I will simply point at the Jensen on the floor as to what happened last time.
Valek will look at Commander Rast and say, Commander, I believe I can disable it, but I have to make contact.
You can disable it if it's open.
Correct. Or I believe so.
All right. He hits his comm and has Jensen beamed out.
Okay.
All right. Be prepared to turn it off, then, Mr. Valek. And Rast will go to push it open.
I'd like you to roll me a 1d100. Again, you want to see anything above a 50.
Oh!
That is a 16. That is decidedly
no.
below.
Not a 50.
So
Commander!
this is going to be... Oh dear. So you are going to take 7 stress damage. You are in an EV suit, so that's only 6. But
But he's
injured.
He's incapped.
So Savia, one patient beams out, and then moments later, another one lands next to you.
She's gonna have a look at the camera moment. Okay, and
I just picture Rash like.
she's gonna wonder what Mr. Matic is up to before she starts running towards Rast. Just thinking,
Hope he's
I'd
having
rather
a
be
better
anywhere
day.
but here. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What is it?
Another
again?
control medicine. I'm going to spend threat here. Difficulty of 2. And I'll give you
Can
trauma
I assist
surgery.
her?
Well, Valek, you are dealing with the
that's
orb.
right. I'm jiggling. I'm pulling the I'm unplugging it and plugging it back in.
You're jiggling the handle.
Come on.
We've got momentum.
You do have momentum.
Trauma surgery?
I'll give it to you.
Yes.
And spend all our momentum. Mine as well.
Okay.
Just
Get that 2 extra dice.
What is it? What's the roll again then?
Control medicine.
Okay. I'm rolling how many?
4.
Or
4.
Okay.
And you get the 2 successes you need. You stabilize
Okay.
Mr. Rast, which is a good thing. Rast, you are barely cognizant, but you are at least aware of your surroundings.
He touched it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna be like, "Stop touching it! Stop touching
He sits
the
up.
orb."
Alec, could you turn it off?
And Valek, you do see that where Commander Rast did touch the orb, a panel kind of came out and turned to the side, and there's literally just a red button in the middle.
I believe so, Commander.
Don't push it. Throw something at it.
Well, he
I'm gonna
pushed
push it.
He-
I'm pushing it.
The good news is that when he pushes it, nothing happens. Well, nothing
Okay,
happens. Nothing happens to Valek. The orb itself, like all the glyphs, like flare at once, and then they go dark. And there's almost like a very high-pitched whine as the orb just turns off and goes dormant. However, it is at this point that
The whole planet would start to break apart now.
yeah,
Is
the
this-
planetoid
Oh,
is definitely going hardcore earthquake
Star
time.
Trek.
All right, so 3 to beam out along with an orb.
Okay. So this is going to require a certain roll. I'm going to say this is actually going to be a tractor or a transporter roll. So let's break it down. So the target, you guys aren't on a transporter pad, so that's +1 difficulty. You're bringing the orb. That's a +1 difficulty. You are at least beaming to a pad, so no difficulty increase there. And the Dark Matter Nebula has also interfered a little bit, because if you remember, the Dark Matter Nebula messes with sensors. So just so you know, beaming with the orb is a difficulty of 5. Beaming without the orb is a difficulty of 4.
I mean, what's one more?
I have a legitimate question.
Mhm.
Not to be like, didn't we know that due to the
Didn't we bring pattern enhancers?
didn't we
Yeah, we
bring
did.
transport enhancers?
If
One of
you
those
did, then that will knock it down to 3 and 4.
All right, and I say we give him a buttload of threat.
To just get the orb up there and it Franken builds our ship and well, yeah. All right, let's do it.
Make
Let's
sure
do
It's
it.
there's a
off.
force field around the
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna put it into its own containment. All that kind of stuff.
All right, so I need someone on beta section to do a control and engineering. Now, normally this would be a Jensen thing, so it's gonna
I
have
just
to be
pictured them
someone
like
else.
pushing a catatonic Jensen up to the transporter pad. They're like, Mr. Jensen.
Weekend at
He's just
Bernie's,
like,
like
like 2 ensigns are working his arms.
Well, that or it would have been Hale, but you already you got Hale earlier.
Hook his head up to the console. He could do it.
What I will say is, if you give me 2 threat, Jensen can roll for this.
we're about to fill you up with threats. So
Yeah, we're gonna give you a lot of threats.
Yeah.
So
All right, so Jensen is rolling a control and engineering, and the ship will assist you with a sensors engineering. Oh, advanced sensors. It's a 2 or a 3, so it's a difficulty of 3 for Mr. Jensen.
Nice.
that's 1, 3.
and
So
Captain, you want to
6
roll for the
threat
ship?
for 5 dice.
I
6
can.
threat for
Total.
5 dice. All right.
You know what? I'm not even gonna look because I feel like there's about to be a fuck ton of complications.
Oh. What?
Oh,
Oh,
there's 4 successes.
4 successes.
What am I
Here
rolling
comes the
for
ship.
Ship is sensors engineering.
And you have a focus.
And you do have a focus, yep. All right, so that is a grand
Nice.
total of 5
You-
successes, which is 2 more than you need. And sure enough, all of you beam up. Orb comes with you. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to take our 10-minute break. So we will be back in about 10-minute stream.
Also,
And before we leave out,
Yes.
hey, thanks again,
Thanks
everybody.
Oh yeah,
coming,
looking
guys.
at the
This
viewer
is-
count. Thanks for
Appreciate it.
thanks for everybody
Really
showing up.
appreciate
Hopefully
it.
you guys are having a good time. But yeah, we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Hit that follow.
See you then.
right, and welcome back, everyone, for the second part of the Fenrir Session 4. Or is this 5? It's Session 5. If you missed the first section, I think it's all pretty much summarized by a certain clip, which should be available somewhere down there. You'll find it pretty easily. Again, we're very happy to have everyone here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys are having as much fun as my players are having. What we've done during the break is we've decided as a group that instead of making my players go through the docking process with, in a manual way, they have just given me 4 threat, and we're just going to skip ahead a little bit. So we skip ahead.
Did we decide that? Because I was kind of hoping to do that. That's fine.
I mean, if you
You
really,
guys
really
overruled
want
me.
to.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I like danger.
Captain, it's your decision. We
Yeah,
leave it to you.
let's get into the captain. Captain,
We're
am I
giving
getting?
Q threat.
Okay.
You're just getting threat. All right.
Understood.
So, in that case, we are going to cut ahead a little bit. The ship has been redocked, and right now, the 4 of you, are in a senior staff meeting, comparing your notes, deciding where to go from here.
Now that we're all connected again, someone explain to me what happened to Hale.
Upon landing on the planet, a seismic activity jostled Hale, and he was falling to his oblivion. But we were able to transport out roughly 28.7% of him.
Does that include his head?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Maddock, you'll probably want to examine Mr. Hale and see if you can do anything for him.
I've already gotten with Nurse Alel and Nurse Maddock. I'm also going to be pulling Daystrom records for a Crothers. He was someone I served with who was very knowledgeable in cybernetics. I'll be reaching out to him to see if there's anything that can be done, either following his research or following any research available on androids.
All right, very good. Commander Rast, how are you feeling?
I've been better, Captain.
Well, I want you and Williams to check in at sick bay to get a full checkup, please.
I wasn't using those brain cells anyway.
So let's talk about the orb. Do we have any idea of its nature?
It appears to be a data storage device of some sort that communicates telepathically. We were able to turn it off.
And it appears to me that it was hostile towards you.
I believe it was just trying to fulfill its own purpose and design and survive.
Do we know why this planetoid flew into this cluster? Well, is it just the path of its trajectory? Was there like a purpose behind it?
I'm actually looking at the notes I've given you thus far, so I know if I've said this or not. Yes, this is just its own trajectory.
Okay.
Captain, do we know how long we're going to be?
And with it hitting that, I believe that the planetoid and therefore the data source knew that it was in intimate danger of being destroyed forever, and that's why it reached out to the Pathfinder, tried to take control of the Pathfinder, and then later on myself and Jensen.
I see. So this is just a cry for help.
Albeit a aggressive cry.
A deadly cry. I'm curious why the Pathfinder decided to raise its weapons at us if it was this organism or artificial intelligence taking control of the ship. Does anyone have readings from the Pathfinder about what happened after it was powered back on?
I've got some scan readings from Gamma section, but what I don't understand is how it was able to close its own hull breaches.
I think the remaining crew of the Pathfinder were right when they said that this was very powerful technology. So we'll have to keep that in mind as we move forward. Make sure we have safety precautions, Williams, in place.
Right now, the orb is in isolation. We've got a level 10 force field around it.
Well,
Right.
it managed to get through our shields and hail system, so just keep an eye on it.
And because I'm a git, I'm spending 2 threat. Matic,
Oh no.
you get a chirp on your communicator.
Matic.
And you hear Jensen's voice, but in the background you also hear phaser fire. And
Jesus!
Jensen goes, sir, Mr. Maddox, sir, things have gone down to shit here at isolation. The crew of the Pathfinder are trying to get... No, shoot him, not me. I'm fine.
Oh, do we all hear this?
You all hear this now.
They're after the
Maddox
orb.
just gonna kind of look at the captain and be like, permission to take leave and take Williams and rest.
We are all going right now. And I want that section sealed.
Maddox will also present a theory. As they're all moving, Maddox will just kind of, seeing as the telepaths were the only ones to return, is it possible that they were taken over once the ship was unable to perform its duty? They sent out a distress call, and then we're trying to capture another ship to go back in. In theory, they're taking over right now, so they may not. They are taken over mentally, so they may not be who they actually are. If that makes any sense to you all.
Is it
Like,
as we're
mind control.
yeah, like as we're moving, I'll just sort of look at Commander Rass and say, you said it was attempting to fulfill its programming. Was it attempting to reprogram you and repurpose you for some reason of self-preservation, perhaps?
I believe that might have been its course of action, but I was able to press it back without learning its real intentions. And he chirps in, can you start locking on to members of the Pathfinder crew and start transporting them directly into cells?
And the transporter chief comes back and says, sir, they've erected a force field around the cargo bay. We've got the item in.
I thought you were going to say transport them into space.
Yeah. And
Maddox will he'll just turn to the nearest console and try to shut off all power to that area.
oh god, and I'll just
when I say all power, I mean I
oh.
want to shut off life support, environmental, gravity. Like, he just wants to he's gonna try to he wants to overload the EPS conduits over there, going to the cargo bay.
And as we move, if I could, I'd like to posit a theory in character.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, I don't think the non-telepaths were driven mad by that thing. I think the telepathic crew killed everybody that couldn't be reprogrammed. But it backfired.
She's going to say that, well, we considerably outnumber them now. So make sure we get security down there. I don't know where we're at in the ship running at this point, but
I'd say you probably are just getting off a turbo lift.
Yeah, so basically running there, but she's going to confirm that she believes that too.
Yeah, well, Williams will slap his comm badge and say, Williams to security.
Security,
this is
sir.
Level 1 alert.
Understood, sir.
Also, I want to notify Starfleet about what's going on.
Good idea.
Okay. And what is it you want to send off to Starfleet, the Greater Starfleet?
I want to tell them that we have potentially compromised officers attempting mutiny.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to put us on this map, and don't forget, I have not forgot about you, Matic. I'm just going to put us on this map before I forget. But here's what happens, Matic. So when you go to, pull the plug, as it were, you remember something a little bit not odd, but it's literally by design. When something is isolated, it is literally meant to run on its own power supply, which means it's not connected to the greater sort of hub. So if you get inside, you can kill the power, but you can't kill the power from outside. And something I'm going to spend threat to do is, you remember how I said there were, what did I say, 40 something survivors? There are going to be 40 something survivors in this sort of room you're going to. I'm not going to put 40 tokens on the map, so just imagine that there are quite a number of tokens on this map. But you all do arrive at the door to this isolation ward, isolation cargo deck, wherever we're flavoring it as. And Jensen is there. Jensen is kind of cradling his arm. He's sporting a nasty phase wound, but he kind of looks at you, Captain, and says, sorry, Captain, if we knew they were going to come like this, we would have been a lot more prepared.
Well, hindsight's 20/20, Ensign.
20/40 in my case, ma'am, but I understand your sentiment.
And
she's going to direct her attention elsewhere.
Williams is going to draw his phaser.
Okay.
Where's the security detail?
Oh, shows up right about now.
Awesome.
I would say about 5 to 6 security individuals. Would you say they are with... Well, I guess you don't have the momentum to spend... Well, you do have the 1 point. Would they be phaser 2s or phaser 3s? Phaser 3s would be that momentum.
I'll let security answer that.
I'm going to say it's phaser 2s.
Phaser 2s? Okay.
Because I believe phaser 2s can be set on a wide beam.
Mm-hmm. Well, technically, all of them can be. It's just that phaser 3s are the rifles.
Yeah. Okay. No, still phaser 2s.
Okay.
But I'm going to advise them maximum stun.
Maximum stun. All right. So, it is at this point we're going to sort of enter into a narrative combat. I'm not actually going to track wounds, except on crucial characters such as yourselves and the 2 doctors. But this is going to be sort of a theater of the mind / extended task, quote unquote, but we're not going to be doing a whole lot of rolling. Instead, I want us to flavor it in how you all are reacting to the situation. So at the moment, you're all outside the isolation room, and there is a force field between you and the interior. So how would you like to deal with that?
I mean...
At the doorway?
At the doorway.
And nothing in or out?
Nothing in or out at the moment.
As senior staff, don't we have overrides to things like force fields on the ship?
You would, yes.
Like authorization codes?
You would.
Okay, but no.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'm not going to do it without the captain's order.
Yeah, I want to talk to them.
Okay.
So can we open the door?
I would say you could tap into the speaker system of the isolation room, and you could theoretically speak to them through this system.
Okay.
And GM's right before we do that, is it possible for me to try to have some security people, maybe not these people that are with us, but some more security people try to access the cargo bay through a Jeffries tube to sort of get them on multiple angles?
If you give me a momentum and a threat, yes.
Yes.
All right.
Consider it done.
So yeah, part of the security team splits off, goes to get in through the Jeffries tubes. Captain, you are live in the isolation room.
This is the captain speaking. I'll let you know that if you're planning on taking the ship over, I'm not going to make that easy for you. And I'd like to actually I'll just wait to see what they say.
Let's see. Why don't you do a presence and command, at a difficulty of 5.
Oh. Okay. Composure?
I would say she's having to keep herself composed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, you do not get a reply.
Okay. Okay. So she's gonna like look in and observe to see kind of like the behavior of the officers and what do you say, 40 people
Mm-hmm.
in there?
30, 40.
Yeah, gonna kind of just assess that.
Okay. So all of you are able to see based on, you can all just sort of crowd around the captain and see this on the panel. But what you're seeing is that most of the 40 people in here are arrayed in equidistant rows around the orb. And the 2 doctors, Dr. Karos and Dr. Vemia, who you met earlier, they are interfacing with the orb. And you're seeing that the lights on the orb are beginning to flicker into life.
Matic wants to prepare to just to just open the cargo bay door and decompress, shoot them all into space.
Okay.
Captain, I have our last resort option. I'm sure that we want to try to find a better way, but in the instance that we don't, I mean,
I take your meaning, Mr. Raddock. Good thinking, but I would like to try and resolve this.
Are we able to get the force field down? We can transport in a couple of open containers of anethazine.
I would say that Mr. Williams could roll me a daring and security at a difficulty of 3 to breach the force field.
And we just release the gas.
Yeah, I will do that, and I'll spend determination. I have a value. I'm friendly until I have a reason not to be.
Okay.
Can Matic assist by making it to where the force field set up to where things could go in but not out? Like they're still stuck in the cargo bay, but like we could transport something in, or we could even break the plane.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Wow.
Let's see. Do shipboard tactical systems come into play with this, or is that just like weapons and tractor beams and stuff?
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
What do you want, Matic?
Matic will roll a...
Oh my god.
Holy fuck.
We dead. We're really dead.
That's 2 complications.
That is 2 complications. Deuces.
So here's what happens. Williams, go ahead.
He did spend his determination, so
he does have 2 successes. So I guess it is technically possible. So, Matic, roll me a daring engineering.
And I need to get... And how many successes did we need for it?
You need just 1.
Okay.
But that's still 2 complications, even if you succeed.
Oh my god. I pulled like 2 20s, man. If only this was D&D.
Mm-hmm.
The orb is God.
All hail Hypno-Toad.
Power systems. That'd be the only thing I can...
Power system.
No power systems.
All right. So with my quantum mechanics bullshit refocus.
Oh god, here we go.
No, I'm not. Shit's already fucked, so...
All right, so good news. You are able to lower the force field, or at least do so in such a way that you can beam things in. However, at the same time as this happens, the first complication is that the orb completely illuminates and activates. And everyone, whether or not you're psychic or not, across the ship begins to feel that presence. Complication 2. Captain, I need you to roll me a fitness and command, please. Difficulty of 4. Because it is trying to possess you.
So I want to use whatever we have left.
Yes, you want to use your determination. Give me threat. You want to succeed on this one.
So momentum. How much do we have? 2?
You have none
Nothing?
at the moment.
Oh,
None right now.
motherfucker.
Give him a bunch of threat. Give him threat. Because who cares anymore?
How much threat can I give?
You can give me 1 threat for 1 die, 3 threat for 2 dice, or 6 threat for 3 dice.
I want you to have 6.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the complication range as 16 to 20.
And I want to use composure.
I will give it to you.
And you're using your determination too?
How many dice am I rolling then?
So if you use your determination,
Oh, you can only get...
you would be rolling
3.
4 dice, but you would start with 2 additional successes. Or what you could do is you could roll the full 5 dice and then use your determination to re-roll if necessary. You just have to declare the determination for the successes before you roll.
Okay, I want to do that.
Okay, so you're rolling 4 dice then, and you already have 2 successes.
Okay.
All right, very nice. You have rolled 6 successes, which means you actually get 2 momentum. And sure enough, Archuleta is able to not only fend off the attack, but you are able to do so in such a manner that the presence completely withdraws from your mind.
Mr. Maddock,
Yes, Captain.
I want you to eject it into space.
Okay, so here's my question before obviously this will be for reports because Maddox already pushed the button to decompress the entire cargo hold and shove everything into space.
Mm-hmm.
How many Fenrir crew members did Captain just order me to murder?
I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to say there are no Fenrir crew members inside. They're in the corridor outside with you. However, Mr. Maddock, I'm going to spend some of this 25 threat I have.
Oh, no.
I'm going to create 2 complications. When you push the red button, not only does it not do anything to the interior, but the deck you're on begins to depressurize. And if that wasn't bad enough, Maddock, you're getting a call from your wife.
I'm going to spend our 2 momentum to create an advantage, showing that I created a failsafe in the case that one of their engineers would have been able to counteract anything I would have done.
Okay. So then in that case, your deck will not depressurize, but you are still getting a call from your wife.
Maddock here, what's going on?
Well, honey, I've got a lot of very angry patients here that are trying to break isolation. Are you doing anything with the orb?
We're not. 2 of the lovely doctors that we rescued are interfacing with it, and shit's gone sideways. Net the inward gas that I can never
Anestazine?
pronounce. Yeah, that
Anestazine.
All right, I will certainly put the patients I have here to sleep. Good luck with whatever the hell you're dealing with. It sounds fun.
Just get ready for a larger amount of people in sickbay.
Fun.
Maddox to the bridge.
Someone on the bridge answers and says, "This is the bridge, sir. Go ahead."
Tell me what the Pathfinder's doing.
The Pathfinder's in 2 pieces. No, sir. The pieces of the Pathfinder are stitching themselves back together, sir.
No.
Captain.
Yeah.
I have
Bad news and bad news.
yeah, you've heard everything. My advice as your chief engineer, get everybody who is friendly to escape pods. I'll overload the warp core and we'll send out a distress call.
We're not blowing my ship up, Mr. Maddock. I literally have in my notes scuttle the Pathfinder that I took on break. Like, we should have just started with that in the meeting.
So we're able to put stuff into.
Oh my god, is it like a starfish? If you cut it in half, it's going to grow 2 Pathfinders?
Well,
I mean, give it enough
don't
time.
give them that idea. Don't give them that idea.
Sorry.
I'll spend threat.
Yeah.
Spend the rest of this 87 threat that I have to
Mhm.
create 5 Borg cubes.
Actually,
So,
I do have enough threat for 2 board cubes at the moment. Just in case anyone
Hey.
was curious.
I love how we measure threat like that.
Number of
So
Borg cubes.
How do you know it's worth something? Borg
It's
cubes. It's like Bitcoin. It's always going to be USD. Like, no
it
matter
is to introduce a enemy starship. It's equal to their scale, and a board cube is scale 13, so that's 26 threat.
what. Okay.
LOL.
So this thing has power, right?
Yes.
We can't shut it off, but maybe we can overload it.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
we're able to put stuff into the cargo bay, right?
Yes.
Matt's
I mean, it's going to require a roll, but you can get things
that's
in.
fine. Matic looks at Williams and says, "We can arm a quantum or photon torpedo and put it right next to the orb."
Is an option.
We blow out most of this and the above and below 2 decks.
And what we're dealing with right now is a much greater option. Captain, you don't want me to blow up the entire ship. How do you feel about 2 or 3 decks?
We need to throw the anestazine into the chamber, and then we need to try to deal with the orb.
I want to figure out a way to separate the orb's control over these people. Like, what kind of barrier do we have to levy against that to stop?
I mean, there's already a force field up that should block most. Is there anything that can block telepathic communications besides death or unconsciousness? Not even unconsciousness. There's reports of telepathic communication.
Jensen actually speaks up and says, "Lead, sir. Lots of lead."
What?
You know, lead, what they used to use in radiation suits.
What's our biggest source of
But
lead
that's-
on this ship?
Lead is completely poisonous to most humanoids. Like, would we even have lead on the ship, or
We could
What about
probably
the-
replicate it, sir, but it would take time.
Just get a whole
that's
bunch
not
of
something
buckets
we
of
really
paint.
have on our side right now. So
But to help you guys out, I think Rast is onto something, that if you throw anestazine in there and it's successful, you will get progress towards what you're going for. Something else is I would like Commander Williams to roll me a Insight Security difficulty 0.
Oh, yay. Area of insight. Do any of my focuses apply?
Yes. Multiple apply. All right, 2 successes, so you get 2 momentum. Williams, based on what you've heard about the Pathfinder stitching itself back together, you know that if you fire enough torpedoes at it, there's no way in hell it's going to be able to stitch itself together as atoms. But it would mean complete and utter destruction of the Pathfinder.
Yeah, I'll just look at the captain and say, the enemy without, the enemy within. We've got to destroy the Pathfinder too.
The source of the Pathfinder's state is that orb.
So then we destroy the orb.
Yeah, orb is priority, although it doesn't have torpedoes, so that's...
Well, while we're down here having a committee about it, the Pathfinder's going to stitch itself back together and open a can.
I mean, I guess just blow it up. Then, I mean, we have other things to deal with, like every single member of this crew being under mind control. So I guess we should just blow it up.
At least that takes it off our plate.
And then if we can enter the cargo bay, opening fire with widespread stun, if someone and myself can get, or if 2 people can get beamed behind the orb, there is a panel, and I'll describe the panel that we might be able to open up and then turn it back off again.
Let's say,
Right, but according to what you were saying about how the orb was acting on the planet versus how it's acting now, can we trust the same red button?
It was. Did it look pretty much like this on the planet?
No, this is a lot more frenzied, a lot more rapid.
So the orb was off when it was transported in here. I'm assuming it was off before the remaining Pathfinder crew turned it back on. That means whatever effect it has on somebody stays after it's been powered down. So even if we destroy it, we're still going to have an issue with the crew, I would think.
We need to find a way to disable the crew and turn off the orb, potentially move the orb to one of 3 sections. All 3 ships fly into someone that Starfleet Command tells us to put the orb, and then
Well,
that
the
way
issue-
we can
We
keep
blow it
issue-
into space, and then we blow it to hell with the phasers and photon torpedoes.
Starfleet Command will want that orb.
Well,
Well,
here's-
Starfleet Command isn't here.
Here's a theory that I want to put forward. It's a data core. How do we know that it didn't download its consciousnesses into the bodies of these crew members, and these crew members' consciousnesses aren't inside that orb right now? So no matter what, we would still have this threat to deal with. Whether we blow this thing to hell. While Maddox's talking, he is adjusting his phaser to basically hand grenade stun, whatever the fuck they used to do.
Overload
in Star
it?
Trek. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, doing the overload, but try to do it in like a stun setting. And he's like, we put enough of these in there, it'll probably work a little bit quicker than the gas.
Man, if you need grenades, I can get you grenades. You didn't blowing up my phasers.
And I'm assuming that we've already issued the commands to blow up the Pathfinder.
Yes.
Okay.
So let me make sure we're all on the same page here. You want to go in with overwhelming firepower, or you want to use the gas?
A mix of both, probably.
What's the gas called again?
Anesthetizing.
Anesthetizing.
Okay.
Captain, you've heard the theories. It's up to you.
How much? Well, actually, I don't think we have a time to do that. I know there's a way to block telepathy without using lead.
Like, yeah, there is a medical compound, but you would need to synthesize a lot of it.
Yeah.
The other thing
We
would
might
be
need
to
to
set
do
up a
that.
signal disruption. Find out what signal the telepathy is being used on, and then use a inverse signal for jammer.
Okay. I like that idea. So let's throw the gas in there.
Throw the gas in there. All right.
And hopefully at this time the Pathfinder is becoming in
Atomized.
pieces.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Maddox, since you are the ranking engineer right here, unless you want to have Jensen do it, you're going to be rolling me a control engineering, and the Fenrir will assist you with a sensors engineering. I'm going to spend a lot of threat to make this a difficulty of 5. And if you succeed, though, you will effectively gas the isolation room and knock everyone out inside. However, if you
Right.
fail, that will not happen.
Do you want a cheerleader or should I?
I want to give determination.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, so you're giving me your point of determination?
Yeah. Whoever's rolling the gas.
The Institute should approve.
I mean, maybe
That's the value is the Institute should approve.
I mean,
It's good
we
value.
are.
If not, no stranger to violence.
I will allow both.
I think the Institute should approve because you're trying at all costs to save this alien artifact that could be potentially huge, scientifically.
Can't use the alien tech.
Yeah, this is literally just transporters and replicators.
I mean, it was given to humans by Vulcan.
No.
I'm not.
Am I able to cheerlead for him, or was that the determination given?
That was basically giving the determination.
I figured.
So 2 is the standard. I already got the 2 successes from the determination, so that gives me, I need to do 3 or 2. So then I'm going to give you 5 threat to be able to roll 4 dice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ship is assisting,
The
right?
ship is assisting with sensors engineering.
Okay, somebody roll for that and pray to God I only get 1 complication if I get any.
Who wants to? Not me.
I will.
There's 4,
Okay.
5, 6.
So
So then
it was what again?
Sensors
Ooh.
engineering.
4
Sensors.
successes for Matic.
Yeah, so actually
Engineering.
6. So as long as the ship doesn't complicate things.
Well, I still have okay. I still have the technical expertise, so I can re-roll any d20.
Would you want to, though?
No, I'm not pushing my luck. But if there was a complication rolled, yes.
All right. So with 7 total successes, which means you guys get 2 momentum, you send in barrels of anesthetizing gas, and almost within a minute or two, everyone inside has been knocked out unconscious onto the floor. The orb is continuing to oscillate its glowing hieroglyphics and is just increasing in speed the more time you stay there. So right now, everyone in the bay is knocked out cold. You don't have to worry about them.
And do we know for how long this stuff lasts?
Based on the quantities you just beamed in, unless something has been done to their biology, they should be out for a minimum of an hour.
Okay.
So Matic was to go with his. He's gonna Captain. Now that they're all asleep, as a backup plan, I could go ahead and try to create a sensor jammer to see if it's possible to block the telepathy that this thing is giving off, in the instance that we're not able to,
Make
get
it so.
what we need done.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Matic will start working on that, and then other people can go do.
Yeah, so what did Rast and Williams think of all this?
I just look over to Williams.
I'll just look back.
So I want to pretty much like put the ship on lockdown if that's possible.
Okay.
I want to keep people from moving around.
Basically,
So,
general quarters is what you're going for.
yes,
Okay.
please. So just because these people are out doesn't mean that the effect an itch it was giving the rest of the crew won't have an effect. So
Okay.
We need to
Do we
secure
want
the
to-
orb too.
Do we want to try to turn it off, Captain?
yeah, let's go. Let's go in.
All right.
All right. Doors open. I'm going to say by now you don't have to worry about the remaining anesthetizing gas knocking you all out. Either you come in with breathers or enough of the gas has been filtered out. Everyone else is still knocked out, but I need to know who's going in to attempt to interface with the orb.
Is this going to be
I don't science good.
Well, Rast is already. I mean, this is out of character. Rast is already. I need to use a different turn of phrase. Rast has already resisted it twice, so why doesn't he try to pull some bullshit?
barely?
Barely is better than not at all.
All right, so Rast will head in first.
Jensen will follow you.
Oh fuck!
Oh, damn it!
And,
I'll go
and
too.
we're going to need somebody to push the button.
Matic will yell out to Jensen, "Hey, come back here! I need your help."
Sir, you've got it under control. I know you have it under control. I need to help push this button.
Jensen, get your ass over here.
I'm defying direct orders. You can court-martial me later, sir.
I look at Captain and I look at the captain and I'm just like, neck pinch. Like write the report already. I'm
I need a snap decision here, Captain. Neck pinch or no?
No, she's gonna like not neck pinch him, but like physically try. She's not a Vulcan, so.
All right.
Well, neither is Matic, but apparently it works.
She's gonna try and just physically like grab him and.
All right, this is gonna
turn
be
him towards the
a
door.
daring security for you, and it's going to be an opposed daring security, and I will be rolling for Mr. Jensen.
Okay.
Jensen knows Krav Maga. He just-
Bree knows Susmana, so let's see how this goes. Evasive action?
No, hand-to-hand combat would, though. Which I don't think you have, unfortunately.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So Jensen just needs one success here. And where is it? Daring security. 2 dice. Difficulty of that.
Oh!
Wow, Jensen.
Oh,
God!
oh, man, he really shows you up.
He just judo threw an Archuleta.
What the fuck?
So, Captain, you go to block Jensen, and Jensen does one of those things where he grabs your arm, rolls forward, and in the process flips you onto your back,
Why is he
and
fighting?
continues forward. And actually, Ras, it's now past you. Jensen is running past you
No,
towards the orb.
he's under control of the orb.
All right, and I'm going to do my best to stop Mr.
I want to
Death.
stun him with my phaser.
I'm annoyed. Holy
I am-
shit.
Yeah, I want to stun him with my phaser. That's what I'm gonna do.
All right,
Bree
let's start
here's
with
on-
Mr. Williams, and then we'll let Rast go, because if
Okay.
you do it the opposite way, there's a risk of hitting Rast.
I am also going to challenge a value to get a point of determination.
And what is the value you're challenging?
I'm going to challenge the value peace is not weakness, aggression is not strength.
Okay. So you would get your determination back. And this is going to be a control security for you.
Mhm.
I have enough threat remaining. I'm going to raise difficulty to a 4.
Yeah, well, I'm going to use that point of determination to get an automatic 2 successes.
Okay.
And can I spend that remaining 2 momentum to roll an extra die?
You could.
And my focus and hand phasers. Come on.
That is a total of 6 successes. You may stun Jensen, or at least roll challenge die to see how badly you stun Jensen.
Right. I get a type 2 phaser.
So who is our operations officer?
All right. So,
Good
Jensen,
question.
yeah, answer.
Oh no, Ras was just asking about who our ops
Somebody
officer is.
Yeah, somebody in chat asked who Ops was.
Oh, I believe we just have Maddock filling that role at the moment, but technically there is some lieutenant commander who we just haven't mentioned yet that is handling ops.
But there is potentially a spot for an
Yeah,
ops officer.
if you want to play ops officer, just
Anybody's
apply to the
interested
game,
to-
you know?
To come along on these wacky adventures.
Yeah.
You'll
Which,
learn how to do how to use quantum mechanics bullshittery as a
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
We'll be doing the first inaugural Matic Awards after this campaign is over.
Mm-hmm. All right, focus. All right, so 7 challenge dice hits Jensen. He has 11 health. He's not in an EV suit. He goes down. Or would, unless I spend threat. When I spend threat, Jensen stays up, and he continues running.
This guy.
God. All right, I'm just gonna tackle him.
Okay? You're gonna
Raz,
roll
you just
me...
need to do 4 damage, and you will. Is
You'll-
that
that'll
incantation or kill him?
That if he rolls 5 or more damage, he will kill Jensen.
Oh my god. We
The
should
only
have
way
let
to
him
stop
die.
him would be to injure him, which would be a 5. If he can, oh my god.
All right, so
It's just
Commander
like,
Rast,
what
I
the
need to
fuckery
know
is this?
here. Are you
I am tackling him to incapacitate.
to incapacitate? So stun.
I'm basically trying to put him in a lock.
Got you. All right, this is going to be a daring security opposed by
You're a
Jensen's
Romulan. Don't
daring
you have a
security.
knife or something?
I don't want to stab him.
I do.
Give the knife to Archuleta then. Jeez.
So, daring security. I'll give you a threat,
Okay.
and I get a focus. Oh,
Oh,
Application. All right.
you tackle him, but as you do,
This
he's.
I'm going to
touching-
spend the
God.
rest of my threat
God.
to give Jensen 5 dice here. So after this, I got no threat. Nothing.
Well, I mean, after this, we're all gonna die, so it works out perfectly.
Okay, so here's what happens.
Oh,
Okay.
Here's what happens.
Wow,
Excuse me,
that's
sorry.
weird.
So,
It's very Christmassy.
yeah, it's very Christmassy. So here's what happens. Rast, you go to grab Jensen, get him in an arm lock, and as you sort of almost get him there, like it's almost there, just a little bit more pressure, and you've got him in a chokehold. He actually backs up, and instead of catching his neck, you catch his head. And there's a moment of struggle where you're trying to clamp onto his head, keep him from moving, but he wriggles out of it. And all the while he's saying, "You don't understand, sir. I don't have time to explain." And he actually sweeps his leg and knocks you on your ass. And in the process, he does stumble, trip over himself, and he basically kind of rolls on the floor until he is next to Dr. Vemia. And Jensen sort of, motions towards Vemia and actually kind of crawls over to her, rips off her comm badge, throws it at the orb, and yells, "Williams, shoot the comm badge."
All right.
Oh,
So, Williams, this is just a straight control security difficulty 2.
This is your bread and butter, man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say that.
please.
I'm going to give you a threat to.
Can his phaser assist?
No,
I'm
his
out of
phaser cannot
determination.
assist. Okay,
Thank
so
God.
4 successes. All right. So what happens is, Williams, you fire with your phaser, and as the comm badge clatters against the side of the orb, there's that flare of energy again, where it tries to billow out and incapacitate the person who touched it. But at the same time as that energy, rushing out of the orb, Williams, you fire at the comm badge, and a combination effect happens where your phaser energy mixes with the discharge and creates a feedback pulse that causes the orb to immediately, all the glyphs light up and the surface shatters. And like in a glass orb, it collapses in on itself like pieces of glass. And the orb is deactivated. All of you feel the weight lifting off of your shoulders.
Matic to bridge, status on Pathfinder.
Well, what remains of the Pathfinder, sir, is inert.
Matic to Savia, status in medbay.
Got a lot of sleepy patients here.
Matic will just kind of lean in and he'll look at Archuleta and Rast on the ground. Besides a couple bruises, we're good. Send a medical bay to cargo bay, whatever cargo bay we're in.
Mm-hmm. And Jensen just sort of stares at the remains of the orb, and then he slowly stands up and dusts himself off and says, he presents himself to Commander Williams and says, "Sorry, sirs, it occurred to me that if I spoke my plan aloud, the orb might hear it, so I had to act on instinct. You may throw me in the brig."
Jensen, you took a maximum stun phaser blast to the back and kept walking. Have you ever thought of a career in security?
I mean, my percentile's not that great, sir, but I'd be happy to serve a beta shift. I'm sure Mr. Maddock wouldn't mind.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for a man who can take a punch.
You can have him.
And I'm gonna turn around and just sort of look at Rast and Archuleta and say, and I think I'm gonna suggest mandatory close quarters combat training for senior staff.
Archuleta's gonna kind of look at Jensen and be like, "You're a regular Renaissance man, you know that?"
Thank you, ma'am. He doesn't know what to say. He's flummoxed that all of that even worked.
Then in that case, Williams will just look at him and say, "You're dismissed, Jensen."
Of course, sir. And he just very awkwardly slides past Rast and Archuleta, and then the moment he's out and free, he takes off running down the corridor.
Bree's gonna look at Williams and be like,
and Williams is just gonna be like, I don't.
She's like, I'm going
And-
soft.
And Williams will tap his comm badge and say, Williams to sick bay.
Sick bay here. Go ahead.
Expect a visit from Ensign Jensen in short order.
Yeah, and my pride.
I'm sorry. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, you heard that correctly.
Understood, sir.
All right. And Captain, I think your pride is DNR.
Yeah.
All right. So, long story short here. The good news is with the orb's destruction, all of the doctors, anyone who is under the orb's influence, they are able to make a full recovery. It's just a simple matter of filtering out the correct brain waves. Something that if we had a medical player, we'd go into it, but since we don't, it's just easier to skip ahead. Your doctors, I should say, are able to make full recoveries for everyone. Don't know about the captain's pride. That probably is going to be something she's going to have to work on her own. But the good news is that short of telling Starfleet that you had to blow up the Pathfinder and you kind of lost a Takan database, everything's fine.
Matic wants to go over the remains of the orb just to see if there's any sort of residual, like, oh, hey, these fragments still work kind of thing.
Okay.
And sorry,
No,
Jim,
go
didn't mean
ahead.
to interrupt you. Yeah, I was just gonna say, and Williams wants to, if there's sections of the Pathfinder that are still intact,
Mm-hmm.
Williams wants to have a team analyze the bioneural gel packs to perhaps determine a way to defend against this sort of incursion in the future.
Gotcha. And something you will find as your teams are going over the bioneural gel packs, because this is sort of where I reveal all the twists and stuff. The bioneural gel packs are actually what were the alien presence. They were residing within the gel packs. So had your shields ever gone down, then your gel packs would have been infected. So it was actually a good thing that you kept your shields up. The other thing is that you're noticing in that the debris of the Pathfinder, you do find a log from the captain which does detail all of the blue shirts killing the rest of the crew. So as Matic had suspected, it was that the telepaths basically went on a rebellion, killed anyone who couldn't convert. So that's what was going on there.
Knew it.
Yeah,
What
I was
about
gonna.
the
I was
falsified
actually
engineering records?
that one.
The engineering records, I think those are just Matic could confirm that they were just cooking the books to look good.
Okay.
And the origin of the original distress call, they have found us.
Mm-hmm.
Do we ever find out, was that the last sort of plaintive wail from the non-telepathic crew as they were slaughtered?
Yes.
Okay.
You've actually hit the nail right on the head. But yeah, that is the end of our little two-parter. Well done, everyone. It was a gamble, me going there with Jensen, because as he said, had any of you spoken your plan aloud, the orb would have done something to counteract it. That's why I was saving my threat. So that was a risk, because I know how much you guys hate Jensen. So,
It's love-hate.
yeah, sort of love-hate with him.
I think he's growing on me.
Hey, I'm putting him in for a commendation.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him at least part-time on my security team, maybe help him out a little bit.
All right, so we do have to do a few things before we cut the stream. The first is that I would like to award everyone present an ARC milestone. Now, if you don't know what an ARC milestone is, it is the highest sort of advancement you can get for your character. And you can do a lot of things with an ARC milestone. More specifically, you could adjust your attributes. You could increase attributes. You could increase a discipline. You could get another talent. You could get another focus, get another value, or you could mess with the ship a little. You could get the ship an additional, you could raise the ship systems. You could raise the ship discipline. You could even get the ship an additional talent. I'm going to let you guys sort of feel your way offline what we do with the ARC milestones, but all four of you have one. So the rules on that are on page 140 of the core rulebook. And yeah, so that's the arc milestone. Second thing we have to deal with is reputation. So Captain, you have to hand out 2 positives and 2 negatives for this mission. So you have to decide which 2 officers, including yourself, acted within Starfleet's best interests, and which 2 officers did not.
Right now?
Right now.
She's like, but.
Okay, so which 2?
Yep, there's going to be 2 that acted against protocol and 2 that did.
Okay, I'm gonna take -1.
Okay.
And then I'm going to -1 Maddox. I'm sorry for recommending we vent the 40 people.
No, I mean, I
thought that
think
was a great
makes
idea.
sense. Yeah.
And the rest of you guys get 1. I'm sorry.
All right, so Rast and Williams, your reputation goes up by 1. Archuleta and Maddox, your reputation goes down by 1. All right, so that's where we're going to end the stream. We will be back on the 17th, hopefully with a new player. The 17th will be our last game of the year. We'll be back after the new year. But this is where I end the stream. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. We got good viewership tonight. Appreciate that. And other than that, hope you guys had a good time. Later, stream.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.